Is going live. It says we are. Sorry for the delay, folks. I mean, holy crap. I mean, what the hell are you doing, Zoom? The hell was that? I mean, yeah, it was like, gee, I felt like, I was like under the Gestapo. I mean, geez. So let's see. Here we go. So let me see if I can get this here down. And wow, we may or may not be live. You guys may have to come over on the other side. I am going to put this down, put that up, and we'll do it that way. And there I am. So a little late, but persistence pays off. It was, just didn't get upset about it. Just said, fine, no problem. There's a solution. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for hitting the thumbs up. And again, this is my Zoom meeting. Sure. Yeah, it is. There we go. So, Basto to everyone, favor be upon us all, nothing missing, nothing broken. Remember, you're always the head, not the tail. You always come out on top, not beneath. So, full restoration. We all need it in our lives. Our body needs it every day. Our spirit, our minds, they need it every day. So, full restoration, happy prosperity, and healing. Boy, a lot of people in this group need healing. Amy, sending out healing to your husband. Everyone just give her and her husband, just warm healing thoughts. Her husband has been going through quite the trial. Believe, as she said, they actually had to amputate one of his legs. So, if you're feeling down today, feeling a little depressed, and remember, if you're being depressed, you're being oppressed. Remember this, if you still have both your legs, then you're a rich person. If you have your health, you're the wealthiest person around on the planet. Your health is no amount of gold nor money nor anything can buy health. And if you got it, celebrate it, give thanks for it, to whatever you give thanks to, and just give appreciation and send out those energy thoughts surrounding those people. As an empath, you can almost put yourself into that position of that person. Of course, no one can actually feel the pain the individual is, but yeah. So thank you for, again, sending your love, your healing thoughts to those in this beautiful community. That's what we got as a community. So one of the comments as everyone else is coming. Hello, go, flight risk. How you doing? Deborah, Sloan, Ed, Odin, Emperor Rex, and Jackie, Chloe. Much love to you, dear. Lost in Space. How you doing? Shirley. Hello, Brian. 1958. But Julianne, Jules, from down under. We are a community. We may be virtual, but each one of us have physical lives. We think, right? I think this is physical. I know that when my finger got smashed, about 7 weeks ago, that was physical. There's no denying that. I mean, but this is a community, and we're a part of many other communities. It's what was it that Trina said in a person that had passed over, that we literally create webs of consciousness. That's far out. I don't care what anyone says. So, Belanca, how are you doing, my love? Got your email coming. I'm catching up slowly but surely. And John Price, we're thinking of you, brother, and your significant other, and sending healing and recovery and restoration there as well. Doug, good to see you as well. Lori, what's up? Elderberry, hello. What's happening? Susie Q, I think I saw you. Paul Joe, We lost an old friend. He went on. Yeah. A lot of people making that transition. Hello, Angel. How you doing, dear? Do you know that yesterday it is said, I don't know who's keeping track of this. I don't know who has this calculator, but they said that the human population went over 8 billion people yesterday. Cheers, right? Yeah. 8 billion. Again, who has the counter on that? All right, that's number 7. Come on. Jargo, what's happening? Dirty, filthy money. Good to see you, dear. Shout out to Crowned Heartless. Hello. Just wanted to do that. So, not many answers on the question. So, how much wisdom do you possess? And how do you measure that? I saw some of the comments earlier. This is interesting. So, is being smart the same as having abundance of wisdom? I don't know. I think if you have wisdom, you're smart, but I don't know if you're smart that you have wisdom. Just that out there. Tony, good to see you. The Rebel Preacher, how you doing, my friend? Divine Empress, much love to you, dear. Is intelligence equated to wisdom? I mean, I could see where wisdom is intelligence, but I don't know if intelligence is wise. I mean, is there dumbass intelligence? Dumbass smart people? I know there's smart asses and there's dumbasses, but are there smart ass people? I mean, I don't know. Stephen, what's up? That's true. You can have my 5th grade teacher, Miss Buttons. Amazing how these spirits come into your lives and how they impact your life. Here I am, well over half a century later, and yet I remember the conversations with Miss Button. Now, she was a strict disciplinarian. When we were learning to write cursive from printing, I got my knuckles whacked, You print and you print, or if you cursive write, you cursive write. You don't mix the two together. But anyway, the day after school was left, and down in Texas, I lived in Genoa, Texas. If anyone looks into a map there outside the Houston area, now this was like 50 plus years ago. The schools didn't have air conditioning, hell no. Our house didn't have air conditioning. And it was hotter than hell down there. It was on the Texas Gulf Plain. So the day after, she asked if I would come and help, put up all the erasers and the books. And I did. I'm glad I did. And we were sitting on the counter on the window, and she looked at me, and she was well into her 60s. And she said, Wayne, she says, you're the smartest child I had in my class in a long time. But she says, I want to tell you something, and if you will remember it, it will serve you well. Little did I know what wisdom she was passing on to me. Wisdom. And as she said, always remember this, an ounce of common sense will outdo a pound of book learning any day. Wise, wise words. So, Miss Buttons, wherever you are in your journey, much love to you. Thank you for the love. I mean, that's what it is. Just like one of my cottage parents when I was in the state home for abused children, Miss Hazel. Still remember that woman. And I'm a better person for it. Michelle, how are you? So good to see you. Lisa, what's up? Kim B. Melissa, how are you as well? Yeah. And here now I sit where in both cases, I'm probably further along than they were. And so, yeah, is that wisdom? I would say Now, I don't know how you measure wisdom. I'm not sure. I don't know if we pass and make the transition, is there going to be a test? I mean, I think about that. I mean, think about it. Is there really a test? I mean, if there is, I don't know. Lisa says, one of my teachers told me I would set the world on fire. I think she thought I was pyro. Miss Fenton, there you go. Yeah. I still remember my kindergarten teacher. Isn't that amazing? Love the name Miss Buttons, kind of like our doctor, Dr. Smiley. Yeah. Smelly, is that wow, okay, I was doing yeah, she was a dedicated I often wonder now if those type people, and maybe were some of them, are they the gift to humanity? I mean, they take on human form. I don't know. I hope to get the young lady that was talking in the comments yesterday, because she was talking about they have a group of like-minded people, deals a lot with Methuselah. And it occurred to me that, you get these epiphanies from these books. Hey, Lucky Stone, intelligent people pontificate and wait to talk. Wise people are always listening and know when to talk. Well, the book of Proverbs says that even a fool seems wise who keeps his mouth shut. So I guess there's some validity to that. Tom C. says, yes, the test is whether or not you still believe you are the character you played, and also if you feel guilty. And that's an interesting word, Tom, guilty. The religion that, my 50 years of initiation, that was one of the tenements of the belief system. Guilt. Fear was the other. Dependence is the other, and guilt. But guilt of what? For what reason? I used to be a person that was really beat up on myself. I stopped that shit. That's not healthy. Now, I'm not perfect, and I can accept that. Am I guilty of what? If I'm guilty of anything, it would be breaking my own self-made laws, not the laws of society or unseen gods or whatever. Now, every society must have a structure in order to be cohesive. And that's why we make rules, laws. And what really makes those laws of effect is the consequence of breaking those laws. And it seems that carries over into the spirit realm as well. But as for us individually, I mean, really, what is it that it was written over the portico? Above all things else, be true to thyself. Yeah. So getting back to the word guilty, I mean, the only guilt there's going to be applied to you is what you have broken yourself. And if you realize that, hey, it's a learning experience, how can guilt be any beneficial? Is there something positive that we're derived from that? I see guilt so tear people down to the point where they don't feel worthy enough even to lift their head, metaphorically. Yeah. Sovereign will, no guilt, just don't contribute to the abuse behavior. Yeah. It's interesting. It's the whole study that we're doing. We're going to get into it. And again, thank you folks for coming in. The lateness, thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Feed the machine, right? But so in my theology, when I was taught this, and I did a whole video on it. It's on the, if you're new to this channel, you'll see it, that there were two stories of two different species that was supposedly created. The one was the 6 Day people. And so in my Bible studies and, subsequent many years of Bible teaching, they always glossed over that. They just said, well, the second chapter of Genesis, which, by the way, was basically plagiarized from the Epic of Gilgamesh, mished into that. But anyway, I digress. I said, well, Genesis 2 was just simply a replay of Genesis 1. Liar, pants on fire. Is your ass getting hot? Well, there's a good reason for it. You lying. That is two different stories of two different species. I don't know if it is a genus of man. It must be, I guess. But anyway, it triggered me when I was thinking about Methuselah. So apparently he had no beginning, no birthday. He was. But it occurred to me that, well, the 6-day people, they didn't, it says in there, right in the book, it says that there was no fault found in them. They were perfect. And then they weren't. So I'm just throwing this out here for discussion. So could it be that we have a legend, a possible record of an aspect of man, a genus of the tree, so to speak, that never died? They didn't have a soul. How do you know that, Wayne? Well, read the book. Because the cat that was the hermaphrodite that was talked about in Genesis 2:7, that cat got a soul. Where the others, the male and female, they didn't. But they were perfect. No fault was found in them. We don't know if they multiplied. We don't know how large they got. We don't know anything because along come a comet, bam, and who knows? But maybe they were able to do something that we aren't. Just throwing it out there. Vegas, good to see you. Hello. Bonnie, what's up? So, I don't know, just a thought. But what if these beings are today, because we have no record of when any angel was created. We have no record of writing of when a demon was created. Well, let me backtrack on that. The Liber Lilith gives a pretty good story of where the demons come from. But even the demons is actually, the etymology of the word is divine one. So if you're a divine one, how come you're become a demon? And how come did they, switch sides? I mean, if they're a demon, then what are they a demon of? Are they a demon of humanity? Are they a demon of some other creation? Why is it that they rebelled under a perfect system? I mean, if it's perfect, why would you have any rebellion? So, the whole demon thing, and actually it's a modern aspect of our nomenclature. Because, there is no really record of any demon before, the first century, Yeah, I don't know. Brandy, just got on, long time no see. Same right back at you. I hope you're doing well too. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. Maybe Sasquatch is a descendant of this. Odin, listen, we're going to get into some things, but the redhead people, they were the giants. And we're going to read some things. By the way, in my list of required greeting, I have got a book that I do recommend. I don't have the PDF of this, but I can tell you this is, wow. I'll be getting the whole series. It's an expensive book. I'll just tell you now, it's a little under $100. But I got to tell you, wow, this is, it's written by Taya L. Douglas. I want to just read the beginning of this. This is worth listening to. Tom, let's get to your point. Give me 1 second here. Here we go. The children of the serpent. Thousands of years before sapiens were created using our genes, and by the way, this book gets really into DNA. Fortunately, I had a test that broke down a lot of this, so I have a lot of this. I'm beginning to figure out where I fit in on this particular set of knowledge. It says, before the sapiens, using our genes mixed with those simians, because we are simians. And people don't like to hear that, but the genetics proves it. We were exploring the planet. Our red-headed ancestors were building stone circles, underground caves, mounds, and pyramids. There is no part of the planet we have not been to before sapiens were even thought of. We painted our homes with elaborate images. We were in tune with nature and never took more than what we needed, and always gave back to the Great Mother. We are the shamans of old, performing beautiful ceremonies under the full moon, as we played our tribal drums and instruments. Later, when the less intelligent sapiens started to breed without foresight and conquer with greed, they tried to wipe us all out. They thought peace-loving nature worshipers were less intelligent than them with their dog-eat-dog culture. They wanted to murder all the red-headed giants and make sure no one knew the truth about our past. Only now the sapiens are finally catching up in intelligence to us. They know about DNA, and the truth about us is finally being revealed. Respect our ancient bloodline. We were here a long time before you. And if you will listen to us, rather than demonizing us, you might just learn how to live in harmony with nature, like we used to. The Great Mother can heal. She can heal all things. Who are sapiens? Sapiens have given us many names. Who are we? Sapiens have given us many names, all of which are meant as insults or have come to mean insults. We are Neanderthals. We are the fairies. We are the witches, the seers, the dragons, the vampires, the watchers, the Anunnaki, the magicians. We are the spiritual royalty. We are the shamans, the titans, the cloud people, the teachers of Gnosis and Sophia. We are the children of the serpent, the Grail children. How's that for an introduction? Now you're going like, well, holy crap. This is a great book. In here, you know where gold comes from? Many people think it comes from the earth. That's not true. It's impregnated into the planet. Gold is formed at the heart of a star. And when a star blows up and throws out its stellar matter, this thing called gold is thrown into what eventually becomes planet. I just thought that was really interesting. In here in the writings, it's interesting because we were talking the other day about reviewing sigils. Well, got in here and started reading, just skimming through the book. I just got it, and holy crap. I mean, we were in some advanced stuff. I mean, many who will watch those videos and go back will begin to see it. And so we have this whole thing to do with the peace symbol. I mean, it's not what we thought it is. We've made it something. But yeah, so I'll catch you up more and more on this as time goes by, but pretty interesting, isn't it? What the hell are you reading? Well, Mary Flynn, I held the book up. It is, again, I do not have the PDF. It is the unveiling of the profound esoteric mysteries, the secrets of the serpent bloodline. It's deep, but yeah. What can you say? Chloe, yeah, the secret of the serpent bloodlines. That's right, Chloe. Gold is found near turquoise, and it's also found by quartz crystal too. Yeah. All right. So been thinking on this, and looks like the first of the year, I'm going to be doing live shows on Rumble, and so there'll be more information on that as we get there. All right, so got a lot to cover because, you know, over in Rumble, we can rumble. Yeah. That book reminds me of the song Temple of the, is that the Sphinx? Peace symbol is Christ upside down, arms broken. That's what I read long ago. Lisa, you're right. It's and how it was done today. I mean, where it came from, it was actually a warning about nuclear fallout. I didn't know that either. It's like, no, Jargo, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm just going to be going over there where we can. Wayne, will you read the chat? I think I'm trying to do that a little bit. I'm trying, you know, but no, it's right. On Rumble, we can talk. We can talk much more expressively and without restriction and having someone look over my shoulder. All right. So wanted to get in because this is, to me, an exciting topic. How do we measure wisdom? If you were to pass over, and we all experience it, you're going to experience, you might as well get used to it. You ought to begin to start preparing for it. There's going to be, it's not an accounting. It's nothing to fear. I mean, everything you've done in your life, you will have the opportunity to measure it to what you knew, even the bad things. I mean, I look in my life, I mean, the abuse that I went through, you know, it's supposed to mess people up. But then again, there are those of us who look at it and extrapolate positive, good. I mean, it's very obvious that, you know, I carried with me in my genes the knowledge, the wisdom of what forgiveness does. Favor is something I've spoken over my life for decades. And even in those worst of times, you know, I look back on them now, I don't see them with all the sadness. I see them with gratitude. And I know that sounds pretty weird. Yeah, the older, the wiser. There's true. I think that wisdom, and it's odd. I mean, they're intelligent children, highly intelligent. But we know that, again, I don't think that intelligence is equated to wisdom. I think that there is, you know, that's unfortunately, I think it's the only way you learn, right? Yeah, someone, Shirley says, if there's no evil in you, you won't mirror it back. And I guess, again, you have to define what evil is. It's different for all of us. It's like God. There is no singularity of a God. God is the construct of billions of people's thoughts. I mean, do you really think Jesus is a white dude? If you wanted to be historically accurate, he was dark-skinned. Now, that blows the whole picture. What the hell? Yeah, I know. I get it, you know. Lee, I started late, so you're not that. You know, it's like, damn it, Steiger, did you have to tell us that? Well, because a lot of people think that it's blonde hair, blue eyes. I mean, you know, sure, whatever works for you. But anyway, I digress. But it is, as I look back on it now, I look at it with very fond memories. Isn't that odd? I mean, you would think that those things that were meant to hurt you. I mean, listen, I've had my bones broken by those who supposedly loved me. I'll take a broken bone over a broken spirit any day. Proverbs warns that a parent should not break the spirit of a child. Now, that's interesting. It didn't say the soul, it said the spirit, which is clear indication a spirit can be broken. And if a spirit can be broken, how badly is that damage? Oh, shit, man, we're getting into some real deep stuff here, aren't we? But it's true. The words that were spoken over me, I had to reject that curse. Many of you have had those same words. You're not going to amount to anything, and it goes on and many iterations of that. Yeah. And try living in my case, in a state home where you've got hundreds of children, all coming from abuse, some far degrees than others. But the one thing that they found that difficult to heal was the wounds inside. It's interesting. It could also be a hindrance for some in manifesting. It's that dark night of the soul. Got to go in and love that child. If your spirit has been broken as a child, the abuse that so many women, young females, encounter, I think is another sign of that as well. Yeah, Joe, I agree with you. Brandy says, yes, it happened to me, and unfortunately, I believed it, and I distinctly remember my energy before and after, and I'm still healing from it. Well, Brandy, you're a fine-looking girl. No, you're a precious spirit, dear, and we all face opposition. It's just the way it is here. So, Brandy, what was planned for you, it's broken. That power and the mending of your spirit, I think, is taking place. And it sometimes it's a gradual process. It can happen in an instant, but takes a long time to repair that damage. So, hon, look up. Serious. Yeah, see? Scotty Boy says, take that kid to the park. Indeed, take that kid to the park. I still like it as an adult, is to actually sit in the swing, It also lets you know how much core energy you have. As you remember, to get yourself up there going, woo, as you know, you get those abs working, baby. Yeah. And Tom, and that aspect with abuse, sexual abuse. Yeah. It's, wow. It's one of those things where, ignorance is, I am quoted and trademarking it, by the way, is that, ignorance is a self-inflicted disease easily cured by knowledge. And we just, unfortunately, there's just so much that our species is hindered with. And I don't know if it's all self-inflicted. I really don't. I sometimes get so perturbed when I think about all these other energies intermixing with us in this physical world. And you've got obviously there is this battle of unbelievable proportions that apparently is still taking place right around us. We're only phased a half a millisecond away from seeing it. And maybe you have to be phased in even more so to be able to actually witness it. Knew a guy back in the days when I was in a house that was run by a church, but it was where young men would stay, and it was a cool group, very intelligent people there. And there was one guy by the name of Ray who was going for his PhD in theology. Now, I was only 17, but the interesting thing, and I've spoken about Ray before, is that he had the ability, and if you look at the gifts of the Holy Spirit, one of those gifts is seen into the spirit realm. It's called the gift of discernment, that you can actually see the physical aspect of the spirit realm. Ray could do that. It wasn't until years later that I found out it drove him nuts. It drove him insane. He couldn't handle it. He would be at times in such great distress, just sitting, and it would just come in, and he would describe horrors of battles, beings attacking each other, and apparently they don't die. Apparently, it's battle inflicted wounds, and it's crazy. He had the ability of seeing people where I learned this very young, that spirits will literally become parasitic. There are some humans that are actually bidded for in the spirit realm. It sounds bizarre, but that's what happens. And I don't know if that may be the case for all of us. We all suffer and encounter our own battles. Yes. And, yeah. Woof. So, anyway, I don't know how we got off onto that one, but anyway, Mad Cow, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, Bonnie, it's interesting that, to think that we are bidded for kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, destiny plays a role. Fate has its attributes. And if the future is already been, yes. So if the future has already been, so if a being, let's just use what Trina and I were talking about. Let's say a 6th, 7th dimensional being. I don't know what that would look like, because if you look at different dimensions, that would get really bizarre. Would it be able to see yours or my future? I mean, we use tarot cards, we use divination, right, to help advance us on this. We want to know when certain things in the astral and in the astrological charts, favor certain actions, business decisions. I know the Federal Reserve have some of the world's best tarot card readers. Yes, they are employed by the Federal Reserve and by our government. People don't realize that many presidents of the past, Gene Dixon was the seer to many, I think 5 different presidents. These were all self-avowed Christians, but yet they brought a known seer, and Gene did have the gift of seeing. The question always becomes to me, why, if they have been foretold of a certain inflection in the timeline, it seems like it's inevitable that it can't be stopped. There are many stories in the conspiracy journals that Gene Dixon saw what happened to JFK. Tried to warn him. It's been reported that he said no, he was going to Dallas He had a commitment there. There was a purpose for it. And it's interesting. I knew a particular case of a young man that was told that he would be drawn into a group, drafted, and that he would meet his end in a foreign land in a hot tropical area. Well, that came to pass, Vietnam. So it's interesting. So getting back to the point, if there are these spirit entities, energies that can see our future, I don't know how much of that future they see. Do they see it all? I would think in a quantum universe that would be, because there is an unlimited potential of possibilities. Yet we seem to take a course of action that leads into certain other consequences and reactions. So my point, getting back, if you saw the potentiality of, let's say, Cheryl, and they could see Cheryl's life, they could see every potential inflection of an action and then subsequently the cause and effect. Now, if you feed off of energy, psychic energy, emotional energy, I mean, if you're a spirit who feeds off misery, suffering, I wonder how many spirits bidded for someone like John Casey. You know, these mass murderers, or maybe anyone who commits murder. Because there's a huge energy exchange at that moment of that type of action. Like I say, just talking, that's what we do here. We kind of, I know I'm going a little bit over because I didn't get to start on time. But it's, and surely it's interesting because Facebook is out here for knowing. They run an algorithm that it's able to actually see the capillaries in your nose, in your eyes, and they know exactly what you're experiencing. Get out of my head, man. Bill, yeah, the story with JFK, yeah, it's interesting. You know, a number of things. I mean, you know, I knew a number of key people that were in the Reagan administration, and Nancy Reagan was all over the occult. I mean, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You can be a cop and a robber at the same time. Ain't that the truth? Okay, lovely discussion. Hey, Darlene. Hello, my love. Good to see you. How are things going? Well, I hope. Send me an email. All right. So, want to get to back with Steiner, but I have something I would like to share. Give me 1 second as he goes here. All right, let me go there. Okay, this is where I want to go. I'm the bus driver. I'm the bus driver. Get on board. All right, stitching. Yeah. You know, I bought all of his books. I mean, still got it in my library because all of us thought that, you know, the dude knew what he was talking about. And, you know, about Nibiru, Planet X, you know, the 12th planet. And by looking at the cylinders, Stitchin, who, by the way, could not read Sumerian Sanskrit. He didn't know the cuneiform, but yet it was amazing how quickly this phenomenon grew. Anyway, this is it's a great paper if you are into Nibiru and Planet X. Well worth your time to read. And I just want to give it to you very quickly. His book, The 12th Planet, I have it right over there, will recognize the above seal. It's called VA 243, so named because of the number 243 in the collection. And don't even ask me about the Vorderlichtenstein Museum in Berlin. I butchered that just like you would do a hog. But anyway, the seal is the centerpiece of Stitchen's theory that the Sumerians had advanced astronomical knowledge of the planetary bodies in our solar system. This knowledge was allegedly given to the Sumerians by so-called extraterrestrials, whom Stitchen identified as the Anunnaki gods of the Sumero-Mesopotamian mythology. In the upper left-hand corner of the seal, Stitchen argues one sees the sun surrounded by 11 globes. Since ancient people, including the Sumerians, according to Stitchen, held the sun and the moon to be planets. But anyway, these 11 globes plus the sun added up to 12 planets. Of course, since we now know of 9 planets plus our sun and the moon, part of Stitchen's argument is that the Sumerians knew of an extra planet beyond Pluto. This extra planet is considered by Stitchen to be Nibiru, an astronomical body mentioned in the Mesopotamian text. Stitchen works details his contention that Nibiru passes through our solar system every 3,600 years. Folks, there was a time, man, I was deep into this stuff. Steve Olson and I mean, back in the day, and it was mixed in with Christianity and you know, and a little bit of occultism. And, you know, it's a hell of a ride. If you could replicate that into the physical aspect at a amusement park, you'd have a line stretching miles out. Anyway, it was his belief that Nibiru will return soon. Some followers of Stitchen's ideas also refer to Nibiru as Planet X. Is Stitchen correct in whole or part? Is Nibiru a 12th planet that will soon return? Does the VA 243 prove his thesis? Unfortunately for Stitchen and his followers, the answers to each of these questions is no. And this paper will focus on the heart of this theory. Nibiru is the subject of another paper on his website. And this is from Michael Heiser. I think this is actually one of his PhD submissions. Anyway, it's worth reading. It's very knowledgeable, and no matter where you stand on the subject, it's good to read what the scholars have. I mean, again, Dr. Noah Kramer is, in my opinion, one of the most premier Sumerian interpreters around. He was able to get the Rosetta Stone, so to speak. But anyway, there we go. Just throwing that in there. Here's another one, by the way, another good book. Again, imagine there's no Satan, how Satan got into the New Testament. And if we could only mature, no matter what our belief systems, and say, yes, that's true. There was no Satan prior to, the first century, and in fact, it wasn't until actually Jerome, who in his idiocy, and I think the man was really borderline psychotic. You live in a cave for a couple of years. Number one, you're a lazy son of a bitch because you ain't working. You're depending on somebody else's sweat to sustain you, but you're hearing from God. And so you're going to write this. And as we know, his damage, what he did to humanity, well, if you pay for such crap like that, he's still paying for it. He interjects a name that never was and brings on a whole new personification of the representation of the ills of the world, evil, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, yada, yada, yada. And, it's just like demons. There is no place in the Old Testament for demons. They didn't believe in them. And the only way that we got it into our nomenclature is, again, by the book of Mark. It was never written by any guy named Mark. It was an outline at best, and it was one that we know was added to. Scholars have known that from almost the beginning. Yet it's in that book that we are introduced to this whole new species that apparently can talk any language. They can perform miracles. They can instantly travel through thought from one place to another. Apparently there's a whole hierarchy according to Paul and his writings in Ephesians, and you've got this huge big complex. I mean, they got dogs and cats living together. They got the subparcels that it's just, yeah. And today, we as a society and as a culture love telling people to go to hell. We love getting the shit scared out of us because we think the devil did it. And yet again, as I have said, all church meetings are merely a glorification of the power of Satan because he seems to be kicking their ass. Enough said. Oh. Don't send me emails. But if you'd like to read it, this is, again, one that you should have. It's informative. And I won't have enough time to get into it, but there are some great books that I have of Steiner's, if you want them. This is one of his books, and how is knowledge of the high worlds attained? The stages of initiation. You know, how we're prepared, how we're enlightened, and then the control of thoughts and feelings. Does that sound familiar, anybody? You know, hell yeah. And speaking of initiations, he has another book on just that, the superphysical world and its gnosis. This is another way. As I tell you, many of you are in the same boat that I am. You went through the same belief systems, and it was just nothing more than an initiation, darling. And guess what? You passed. You open-minded thing, you. Congratulations. So tomorrow we'll pick up where we left off on wisdom. This is well worth it. It's a subject that just doesn't. I mean, you think about it, this is over 100 years old, 105. And yet it could have been written yesterday for our time. This is why it astounds me in his writings. It's much like George Carlin in his comedy. You'd think he was talking about today, but no, he's talking about, the 70s. So anyway, there we go. Ain't this fun? Yeah, it is. We're learning stuff, man. That's all I got to say. So anyway, translations, then there's versions, inversions. Ain't that the truth, monkey experiment? Yes. So this has been fun, even though it was delayed. Hey, we're like the mighty oak that stands ever so stout, yet we have the branches that moves all about. Let your branches flow, baby. You know what I'm saying? Ballot Brand, how are you doing? All right, everybody. Hey, Miss Trina, how are you, dear? Good to see you. Loved your video, hon, yesterday. Spirit and soul. Folks, this is how we grow. You don't always have to agree with all the points. The idea is to be able to absorb that, weigh it, and, take what you need and what helps you and leave the rest for somebody else. That's the way I always look at it. Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. I will. I'll let you know. It will be the first of the year, and it'll be fun. Yeah. Won't be the hour format. Who knows? Maybe it might. So thank you, Bonnie. Much love to you. Lost in Space. Appreciate you, my friend. Steve, same way. Miss Trina, I tell you, the shows we do on Tuesdays are profound. Robert V is in the house. Good to see you as well. All right, Soul Tribers, see you tomorrow. Much love to you. Enjoy the day. Pass along some knowledge to others. You know, you never know when you drop that wisdom, that golden nugget into someone else's life, how it will come of great value to them later in their life. And in the karmatic flow, you get credit for that. Yeah. I mean, the Akashic record is the Akashic record. You know, you're doing good, regardless if you know it or not. I think some of us are going to be surprised. We get over there and go, "Are you serious? Me? Are you serious? I had no idea." And you just go, I knew. There we go. Musgrave, appreciate you as well. So Bosto, baby, y'all be good, and remember, not only be good, but be good at it. Do whatever you do with excellence. Even if you screw up, do it with excellence. I mean, we all screw up, so do it with excellence. That's the way you have to look at it. All right. Yeah, I give you the peace symbol. There we go. All right. Much love.